A couple disclaimers before we talk about the top 5 point guards of 2018. Number 1, James Harden. I don't consider him a point guard. He's got Chris Paul next to him now, and I don't think he or opposing point guards are going to be defending each other that much. The other one being Isaiah Thomas, because Isaiah, he is going to be hurt for quite a while this season, so it's tough to really include him in there. So now with that all said, I think the one that was probably the toughest for me was number 5, because I'm thinking about Kyrie Irving and what he can do with the Celtics and in Brad Stevens' offense. There's Mike Conley, who really took his offense to another level this season while maintaining his defense and overall team-winning style. Damian Lillard, one of the better offensive players in the league, who's done a great job with Portland, even if the team around him hasn't been as good. Kyle Lowry, one of the better two-way point guards in the league. So there was definitely a bit of a competition at number 5, and I could have gone a few different ways. I think I'm going to go with Kyrie Irving, number 5. A combination of what we've already seen him do as an offensive player, on top of how good he's been in the playoffs for Cleveland, but then when you just put him in that Celtics system and off-ball movement, screens with Al Horford, I just think Brad Stevens is going to put Kyrie in so many good positions to just be an efficient scorer and then also perhaps average a few more assists a game and things like that. If I can talk about some of the other guys, Kyle Lowry's playoff performances have been nothing compared to Kyrie Irving's. Mike Conley, as much of a fan of him as I am, I just don't think he does enough over-the-top offense where Kyrie can go off for like 45 points in a game, and I think that's more valuable than Conley's defense, which is good. Lillard I was very close on, but I think the difference is just I've seen Kyrie just go bananas in playoff series, and Lillard has as well, but I think Kyrie's just a little higher of a level there, even if I think Lillard could be a better regular season point guard up to this point in their careers. I'm going with Kyrie. Number 4, Chris Paul, which is a drop-off because all the times that I've done this video, I'm pretty sure I've had him number 3. The beauty of Chris Paul is in his efficiency. From the field, he typically shoots around 47, 48%. He's perhaps the best mid-range shooter in the league, with all respect to Al Horford, DeMar DeRozan, Paul George, whoever the hell else. And also, his efficiency as a playmaker is really insane, because the dude averages about 9 assists, and he gets like 2 turnovers a game, which is kind of ridiculous when you think about it. But why is he only number 3? Why wouldn't I have him, or why is he only number 4, I should say, when I usually would have him number 3? Age, number 1. Number 2, he really doesn't attack the defense as much as you would really want a point guard to do, and he's so good at all the other things that it does make up for it, but there is still a little bit of a drop-off there. On top of his potential injury risk, he played about 60 games this previous season, also because James Harden is still going to have the highest usage on the team, I would assume. I think Chris Paul is going to be awesome for Houston, but I do think there's a little bit of a drop-off between him and the guy I do have at number 3, and that is John Wall. The big difference between Wall and Chris Paul, I would say, is just how much more pressure John Wall puts on the opposing defense. Chris Paul attempted like 70 or 80 shots at the rim this previous season for the Clippers, whereas John Wall attempted over 500 shots at the rim, which makes sense because he's way more athletic and he's bigger than Chris Paul. And I think that extra pressure that the defense always faces when Wall is in the game, I think that's the difference between him and Chris Paul. We should give Wall credit for the progress he has made on his pull-up jumper, mainly in pick and rolls when the big man backs up on him. He shoots almost league average on mid-range jumpers while attempting nearly 400 in the season, so I'd say that's impressive. And then, of course, his playmaking. I would say if Chris Paul is the best playmaker in the league, John Wall might be number 2. LeBron James and James Harden, I mean, there's a conversation at the very top there. But Wall is not very far down that thing, and I think the combination of just how much pressure he puts on the defense when he attacks the rim as opposed to Chris Paul, the progress on the pull-up jumper, his defense, which dropped off a little bit, but it's still pretty good, and just the way he's been able to lead the Wizards. I think John Wall surpasses Chris Paul this season as the third best point guard in the NBA. Now for the final two, we all know who the hell the last two are. One of them is going to be Russell Westbrook with OKC, who was great this season for them. He was insane in the clutch. He averaged a triple-double. And the other one is Steph Curry. And these two guys could not be more different from each other when it comes to their play styles. Russell Westbrook is going 5 miles a minute. He'll attack the rim any chance he gets, even if the opportunity is not there to attack the rim. He'll find a way to get there anyway. And I mentioned it before, what may be the most impressive thing about Westbrook and how good he was for OKC is the team he had around him. He had Andre Robertson, who's not much of a shooter. He had just not a lot of offense around him, and he was still able to lead them to 47 wins, I believe it was. And he was insane in fourth quarters, man. So many big shots from him. But I'm going Steph Curry number one. And the biggest reason I'm going Curry number one is because I think the constant pressure that he applies to the defense, because of the fact that he can shoot from freaking everywhere, is a little more valuable than Westbrook's rebounds and assists. Also, some people might say, well, Curry could never average a triple-double while putting up, however many points Westbrook did and all that. That's true, but Westbrook is never going to put up a 50, 45, and 90 season while scoring 30 points a game and shooting 11 three-pointers a game. Also, in the famous conference finals where these two faced off before Kevin Durant left to Golden State, Curry outplayed Westbrook. He was significantly more efficient, and in the Game 7, it was like such a one-sided performance. I gotta go Curry number one, but Westbrook's a hell of a player.